Hello everyone. Welcome to the 2023 video training series for the Utah High School Football Officials Association. My name is Mike Furman, and in this video we will be covering goal line mechanics as it applies to each position out on the field. The mechanics we will be covering today can be found in the officials manual on pages 54 through 55. Let's start out then by talking about goal line responsibilities as they relate to free kicks. Now, normally we might not think about the goal line in a free kick situation, but we should understand that really on every single play, the goal line should be somewhere there in the back of our mind where we recognize that it's there and that there's a potential that we might need to be protective of it depending on what happens on the play. And that includes free kicks. If you remember last year's training, we reiterated the fact that the umpire comes up to get the spot and that the line judge should not go so far downfield because they may need to go back and protect the pylon. And as we watch this play roll forward, our line judge here, we're maybe being a little bit too complacent as the play rolls forward and it begins to develop. This runner breaks free. And we haven't quite recognized that yet, and or we decide to let that play go past us and watch it go by, which, again, we can't do. The whole reason why we stayed back there was so that we could get down to the pylon if necessary. And now we've got a play that's approaching the pylon, and we're out of position, and we're not going to be in there to make that call. Now, we end up being okay. They get tackled at the 5, but this could have been potentially far worse. So, again, even on a free kick, all of us need to be thinking about responsibilities of the goal line and where we are in relation to it and where it might come into play where we may have to rule on it. If we go to the next play, we have a similar situation. We have a free kick. The first thing I want you to notice, though, is this back judge. Now, the mechanics manual says that once the ball is kicked, the back judge should move onto the field. A good rule of thumb is for the back judge to come in at a 45-degree angle, which you see this back judge doing right here. This becomes very important as this play progresses. Our line judge has come down. He's a little far, not too far. We're still okay. 40 is a good spot, but we're still kind of aware of what's happening. I think, again, we're trying to view what happens and expecting the play to end. It doesn't. It begins to break free, and this time, again, line judge understands it. He recognizes, that little alarm bell in his mind about the goal line has gone off, and so he is taking off at full speed and making up ground, which he does a great job getting back to the goal line. But particularly, look what happens when we get down to the goal line. Back judge, beautiful job. Came into the middle of the field, recognizing and understanding why, saw the play break free, and as we cross the goal line, we have an official standing down there in the correct position, ready to rule the touchdown. All right. As we move into talking about referees and referees' responsibilities, I want to first look at this play and kind of talk about the referee and the crew entirely. So what we have here is a try after a score, and as the team's coming up, we should all of us be thinking, do they have a tee? Do they have a tee? And as we look, there is no tee. Our head linesman doesn't realize that and begins to move to go underneath the upright like they're going to kick for an extra point. We should all be at this point, and again, particularly the referee should have recognized this and should be yelling at the head linesman and communicating to him that this is not going to be a kick. The only person who seems to really kind of be aware of it, I think our umpire just recognized it, and our back judge, who is in the worst position to be able to see, is trying to see, hey, I don't think we have a tee, which again, our head linesman, yes, this is his mistake, but as a crew, we all could have helped him out and helped him to realize that sooner. Because now this moves our referees kind of moving over, but at this point where we've realized, oh no, there's no tee, we need to be, as a head linesman, we need to be in panic mode right now and sprinting as fast as we can to get to where we need to be. We kind of trot, and all of these things kind of start compounding one upon another. It's just a small little thing that builds upon another thing and another thing until we have big results on this play. The ball snaps, head linesman didn't get into position, and now we got a play running right at us. We're still on the field and not where we need to be. So as it comes towards us, yes, we're backing up to get out of the way, but let me back up. What we've needed to have been doing is already backed up and now moving over to right here in this position so that we can rule on the goal line. So then as it progresses, and we make a play for the pylon, the best person in the entire stadium who has the right view is this little kid, because we should be standing right here just in front of this marker, calmly waiting for the play to develop and to rule. And as we move it forward in slow motion, again, we got a knee down and we are definitely short of the goal line. But the problem is we're not in the position to see that. Now, it's easy for us to see this right now with the benefit of slow motion and pause and so forth. At full speed, you are never going to be able to tell on this call unless you are standing right here as an official. We needed to be in the correct position. This kind of became difficult. But again, all of these things started with we weren't ready when the play began. And everyone on the crew could have helped with that. So we come in, just as long as we're talking about mechanics, remember wings, when we signal, we don't need to come in. One, we seem to be a little bit fixated on our feet and the spot and so forth, which we don't need to do. But two, we also don't need to face the field. We actually want to come in and be facing that direction to make sure that there's nothing unsportsmanlike or untoward happening there as we make this call. So again, it's important that we are prepared and in the correct positions for each play, especially on tries. We're already thinking ahead, trying to recognize what type of play we have. All right, next play. Let's move into talking about referees and their responsibilities when it comes to the goal line. First responsibility that a referee has with the goal line is actually on free kicks. And here we have a semifinal game where the kick comes off, and as the play comes in, we have our white hat who is in perfect position to rule correctly on whether or not this is a touchback. That's what we want to see on a kickoff, and because of that, he rules correctly. We have a touchback, and nobody can argue with that. That referee was right where he needed to be, and he had a good look on it. Great job by a championship official. Okay, let's look at reverse goal line mechanics then. This is the other time that a referee really has goal line responsibilities. We have a scrimmage kick that is about to happen, and at this point, we want to be at least to the goal line and maybe even leaning a little bit further just in case things go wrong, which in fact on this play they do. Ball snap goes over their head, and now the referee is out of position. Wings, once we see this and recognize that, even the line judge, who probably should have started this way, is going to come back in reverse directions really quickly, and our head linesman is going to be moving down to get to scrambling to get to the goal line as fast as he can. As this play develops, the ball goes behind us. Referee, we wanted to be on the end line by now. Sitting here looking, seeing, okay, did that ball hit the line? Is his foot on the line? Where are we at? And that all happened because we didn't set up correctly to start off the play. We need to be back further, and probably on that play, we would have been at least the goal line, if not even maybe even halfway between the goal line and the end line, so that we could react when this play happens. Here we've got a similar situation of reverse goal line mechanics for a referee. It's not a kick, but you recognize where this referee is positioned, which is exactly where we want to be in this type of scenario. Snap comes back, ends up being nothing untoward happening on the play. But again, the point is our referee was in a perfect spot. As long as we're looking at it, let's recognize our head linesman who moves to the goal line instantly to snap like he should. Technically 15 yards behind the line of scrimmage is right there. But you know what? Right here doesn't matter. What matters is the end line. The goal line, the end line, two most important lines in the game. Those need to be the areas where we're focused and are protecting. In this case, we have our wings getting the goal line. So then the next thing we have to get is the end line as a referee. Just head back to the end line and set up there. Good job. There are some weird scenarios that happen for which the manual doesn't really talk about. So let's cover it here on this play. Kick is blocked. Back up, we have a blocked punt. As the ball is rolling, now right now what has to happen is the referee has to make a decision. It would be nice for us to be able to say now or even in pregame what it is that both the referee and the line judge should do, but the answer is it depends upon what this oddly shaped, funky ball does when it bounces. So what really we need to talk about is the referee needs to decide, okay, is the end line threatened or is the goal line threatened? And depending on which one he decides is determining where he's going to go. And then our line judge, or if it was on the other side, it would be the head linesman, has to recognize that, watch what that referee decides, and then they act accordingly. So if the referee decides to go to the end line, then our wings got to get down here to the goal line and take care of that. If the referee decides that it's the goal line that's threatened, so he's going to stay at the goal line, Then our wing is going to act just like they would normally on a normal play where they would be pointing to the back judge, just letting the referee know that the player did or did not stay in bounds. But again, this is something we got to pregame. In this scenario, it's going to be a judgment call that's made on the fly, and we're going to have to adjust on the fly. Okay, we need to skip ahead here a little bit into this. We're going to start talking about back judges. So let's move into this play where we got a little bit better view. This year we're talking about how, or we have a whole nother training where we're talking about between the 20 and the 10, that back judges have the option to go halfway in the goal line. What we need to not forget as back judges is what that means. We're not just saying, hey, I'm at half, just so you know this is where I'm at. But when the back judges is at half, what we're saying is if it is a pass play, wings, I'm going to take the end line and you're going to take the goal line. If it is a running play, then wings, I'm going to come up and I'm going to take the goal line as a back judge. This becomes a running play, and we have a great back judge official here who recognizes that and, as you see, hustles up and is in the right position to make the call. Turns with the players. This is the mechanic that we want to see. Here we're going to have something similar. Same back judge, quarterfinal game. This is a pass play. So the quarterback steps back to pass, but once it's caught here outside the 5, so then now this becomes a running play. And so again, back judge has to recognize that it was a short pass. Now it's a running play. So he's going to hustle up to get to the goal line and once again is in the correct position to make the call once we're there. Okay, we have a long pass play. This looks fantastic. Back judge understands where he should be, set up on the goal line, and is there waiting to rule and make the determination if this was a catch or not. I believe we end up with an incomplete pass. Again, great job, great mechanic by the back judge. Back judges, if you look in the mechanics manual, as you roll down the lines of responsibility that you have on scrimmage plays, it has a single line for you that just simply says, cover the goal line. That is your responsibility on every single play from scrimmage. Let's let this play roll out and watch what happens here. We end up with a long, deep pass again. The other cardinal rule, sorry, let me pause it one more time, with back judges, don't get beat, right? Do not get beat. Don't let the receivers get behind you. This play goes, and again, fantastic job by our back judge who recognized early, based upon the routes that were being run, alarm bells going off again in his head. Oh boy, I got to go. And we are now streaking at full speed. Fantastic job. Great wheels on that back judge. And again, stays with the players and makes a great call with the correct mechanic at the goal line for a touchdown. All right, let's talk about one other thing with back judges and the goal line responsibilities and so forth. Here, the back judge is giving up the goal line. So we're on the end line. That means our responsibility is now the end line. This play progresses. A quarterback rolls out to the right. And you see here, the whole play is kind of rolling this direction. Great job by the back judge realizing that. He sees where the play is going. He sees where his keys are going and understands I need to move. Runs down to the back judge, and sure enough, we have a very close call on the end line. Our back judge is in great position to be able to see that. What we wouldn't want to happen is back judge stands still, and now he's way over there, and it becomes more difficult to believe that he has the correct call. Right here, he's right where he wants to be with a great look, moving in like he should, hustling on the play, can rule correctly, touchdown. All right, let's move on to wings. This is a quarterfinal game, I believe. We have championship officials on this game. And a good official has to kind of have that instinct for what needs to happen with the goal line. See, everything kind of changes once we get inside the 20. Because normally, if a wing started moving at this point during the play, we'd be saying, hey, you're moving too early. Your keys are right here. You don't need to be moving yet. Hold still. But now we're inside the 20, and this wing recognizes, oh, we got a whole lot of open field over here, and I've got a pass play and a receiver rolling out in this direction. I need to move. And so he immediately already begins to move down to cover up that goal or to protect that goal line like he should. And now, as the play comes in, he's standing there ready to make a call. And that comes, like I say, from this instinct of understanding responsibilities with the goal line. I'm inside the 20. I got to be aware of that. Great job. As long as we're talking about it, let me just point out one thing with the back judge here. Again, another fantastic championship level official. He started out at half on here, and as the play begins to develop, he moves to go to the end line because he's seeing pass. Real quickly realizes that became a short pass and hustles at full speed to get back up to the goal line and does a great job coming up to help on what really kind of ended up being a situation where everyone kind of needed to come together to get that call because of how the play kind of went unexpectedly in a different direction. Great job by the wing, though, with that mechanic. Okay, as we mentioned, once we get inside the 20, everything changes. Normally, if this was a normal scrimmage play, as it rolls in this direction, what we would do as wings would be either hold our position or maybe even move up that direction to get behind the play. But once we are inside the 20, we can no longer do that. Even though it seems counterintuitive, at this point, rather than moving backwards or rather than letting the play go past us, we need to go like on the last play, a full sprint to the goal line. We should have already been moving that direction like we saw in the previous play. Should be standing about right here, ready to rule on whether that's a touchdown or not. Again, becomes very close. I think we get it right, but we just do ourselves a huge favor by being in the correct position in the first place to rule on that call. So again, opposite of what we normally would do. We need to move and stay ahead of the play to get down to the goal line once we get inside the 20, and then particularly when our back judge has given up the goal line to us. Same type of scenario, again, only great back a wing official who realized that early and moved in quickly down to the goal line once he recognized that there's all this open space and it's threatened. And now, what I want to point out as we move here, he's there. This run's still at the 5. He's already in position. All he has to do is just stand there calmly and wait for the play to develop and then make a ruling. Becomes very easy to do our job when we do the correct mechanics, particularly when it comes to the goal line. All right. Now, once we get inside the 5-yard line, everything changes again. Once the ball is on the 5-yard line and in, we need to move instantly to the goal line. This play happens, and you can see we didn't do that. Now, we might be thinking, well, it's rolling away from us, which is true, but it could change at any moment. And even so, we still need to instantly move to the goal line like our head linesman did. Great job, good mechanic, waiting there at the goal line like he needs to as the play comes across. Another good example of what it is that we want to have happen. In fact, if you watch this, it's almost like it's choreographed. But at the 5-yard line, semifinal game, as soon as the ball is snapped, the two wing officials both immediately move to the goal line. And the line judge, as this play goes through, not only is he getting to his position, but he does a great job picking up a pass interference call. He's able to move, get in position, and recognize the foul, and get a great flag on it. Just one more, same scenario. But again, just want to point out, they instantly moved to the goal line, and now both of them are sitting exactly where we want them to be, 4 yards off of the sideline and at the pylon, ready to make a call. Again, things become so much simpler and easy once we do the correct mechanic. Next play. Now we're in the opposite scenario, reverse goal line mechanics, but the rules are still the same. When we are in reverse goal line mechanics, we're going short yardage coming out from the end zone. The wings immediately move to the goal line once the ball is snapped. And here we see that happens. Great job by the wing official. And then once the play goes beyond that, then we move back out. Again, let me just reiterate that one more time. We move to the goal line. As the play comes out, now we work back out from the goal line. This is the correct mechanic. This is the mechanic that we have to be doing as wing officials. Let me show you one more. This one is from a championship game last year. Short yardage. They're going out. And watch what both these wing officials do. Ball snap, they move immediately to the goal line, and then as the play progresses way out, they immediately work back out at full speed to come out and get their spots. Perfect. We move in, and then we move out, and then great hustle by two officials who really are demonstrating why they were chosen to be on this championship game. All right, one last thing to talk about with wings. Here we got a short dive for the goal line. When this happens, we need to be crashing in at full speed. we have our head linesman on the opposite side coming in at full speed. If he's been able to make it this far, line judge, we should probably already be here by now on the short side of the field. We want to crash in full speed coming in to make our call. But now, as officials, we need to kind of have this little timer going on in the back of our head, thinking, okay, we need to make a call. We need to make a call. Too much time has gone past. Yeah, we're trying to find the ball. We're trying to determine if it was in or not. But at some point, if we can't definitively say that it's in, we probably just need to go with, okay, I don't have him in, he's out. And we need to signal with the open hand, the play clock signal, that he was short and come in and mark our spot. If you notice, I want you to notice our white hat here, who is a seasoned veteran official, the timer goes off in his head. And you'll watch him go, okay, it's second down. Okay, we're going to make a call. And again, that's because that timer's gone off in his head. We all need to have that. And as we watch this play out, we never get a signal. Now, we eventually show the down, but we never signaled, hey, continue the play clock. We never definitively said we're short. And to everyone watching, it looks like they had no clue. And the thing is, we may not have known. Maybe we didn't know where the ball is, and that's okay. But what we don't want to have is it look like we don't know. So come in, have that timer in the back of our head. Okay, I don't have it in. I've got to come up and signal we're short by signaling the 40-second play clock. Another similar example. Dive for the goal line. Come in. Our line judge comes crashing in. And as we get in here, I'm short. So since we know that we're short, we're signaling we're short with the open hand start the play clock signal. All right, and finally, let's not forget about umpires. Umpires, you have minimal responsibilities when it comes to the goal line, but you do have some important responsibilities to be aware of. And the first one I want to talk about here, you'll see on this clip, it's again short yardage. We make a play for the goal line. Okay, oops, let me back up. Umpire, you're in the way. I hate to say that, but your first responsibility for the goal line is to stay out of the way. We have a wing. Now, he probably should have been crashing in here a bit to come in and help make that call, but he's trying to determine whether or not the ball's crossed, and your first move as the umpire was to come up to the goal line and get in the officials in the wing official's way. We don't want to do that. You don't need to be moving to the goal line in this scenario. Really, we should probably have you back here kind of looking for the ball. But be aware of your wing officials are there trying to look, and we can't have, somebody blocking the view so that they can't see where that ball is at. So the first responsibility for the umpire, as weird as that may sound, is to stay back and stay out of the way so the officials can see the line. The next responsibility that the umpire has in relation to the goal line is on fake field goals and fake tries, or fire drill, if that's what you want to call it. And here we have one. We decided to go for fake. Okay, in that scenario, yes, umpire needs to come up and take the goal line like we do here. We maybe could have a little more hustle on that move, but the umpire needs to come up, and now this is your moment to shine. This is your goal line. If somebody crosses it, it's your touchdown signal to call. This is pretty much the only time in the game that an umpire would signal touchdown is on a fire drill. Even in this case, now this wasn't a dive, but there's nobody over here, and he's not far back enough that the back judge would call that. So even on this scenario, umpire, this was your moment. Sometimes linemen get to score touchdowns, and sometimes umpires get to signal them. And this is a play where umpire would signal a touchdown. All right. Lastly, with umpires, final responsibility. If you look in the manual, what the manual says is two things when it comes to the goal line plays. One, try to recognize whether the ball was moved into the goal line after it was down, if you can see that. And two, look to the wings and see if they need help. Now, I know we have a lot of umpires out there that have these mechanics they like to do to communicate with the wings, and some of them can get kind of crazy, like I'm going to adjust my hat or I'm going to touch my nose or whatever it might be. Really, none of that is in the mechanics manual. All the manual says is look to the wings and help them if necessary. So it's that help them with necessary where umpires have kind of come up with their other philosophies or other ideas of how they would communicate to the wing that needs help. But what that means is you don't really need to do those unless the wing is looking at you with the deer in the headlight look of, I don't know, did you see? And in that case, then yes, you can communicate to them what you have, and we're not going to take that away from you. You can communicate that however is most comfortable to you. Although I would suggest we probably don't need to get too far into the cloak and dagger type things uh, when we communicate that. But it's not something you have to do on every play where there's a dive, just in the situations where the wings are asking for help. On this play, and again, we have a championship crew here and a championship umpire. Dive comes in, nobody's asking for help, and so all our umpires focusing on is getting everybody broken up and getting the ball and splitting up the colors into different areas. With that, that is our final clip for this video. Watching this video will count towards your requirements for playoff eligibility. Thank you for all you do, and we'll look forward to seeing you out on the field this season.